2 weeks in a row. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, 49ers aren't a team that C.J. Beathard, is that his name?
C.J. Beathard.
Not bad. He's not
now,
terrible.
I've looked at the stats. His quarterback rating's only like 3 points lower than Garoppolo. And I think I said this on a previous podcast. I didn't really think, at least the way Garoppolo came out and played the first 3 games, moving to C.J. Beathard isn't going to be a huge downgrade, and it hasn't been, even though they've gone 0-3 under Beathard, and they were at least 1-2 with Garoppolo. But it's interesting. I think Beathard, might find a starting job at with some team if
it's not a bad audition tape that he's putting together here. So. I think I'm off the Rams too, and the other team I'm definitely off is Jacksonville. That was ugly, and that was the last team I picked.
That was your terrible pick of the week.
It was a tougher week, and I said that in the tape on the podcast, and I said I don't know what I'm going to take, so I ended up on Jacksonville, and that was a bad place to end up because 40-7 to the Cowboys, and their Cowboys are not good. So Jacksonville, they're off the list too. So Jacksonville off the list. And I'm going to say Rams off the list for now, but just this week. But Jacksonville, that was ugly. That's a bad pick for you out there listening.
Right.
If you took Buffalo, you made a bunch of money. If you took Jacksonville, you didn't.
Another team I'm going to add to my not-pick list, the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, buddy.
Who I stunk it up with 2 weeks in a row.
11 sacks. 11 sacks. That is
what a mess. And they're my terrible pick of the week because I was arguing, both the Titans and the Ravens came off of bad losses on the road, playing mediocre teams. And so the Titans were getting 2.5 at home. So I rationalized this is measles against the mumps. I'm going to take the mumps getting 2.5 in their home. Right. And they couldn't score. So, when you...
I remember that witty repartee of a metaphor from last week.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But as it was, just don't bet diseases. That's my that's my motto coming out of it. So the Titans... and in fact, I might use this as motivation now that I've picked them twice in a row and they've been terrible to go against them this week. So, that was it. I had my genius pick. Our bad beat was the same, and that actually takes the consensus, which started out so promisingly at 4-1. Our consensus has now lost 5 in a row, and we're 4-6. It's consensus mush.
Yes, the consensus, we were very proud of it to start with, and now we can't find a game between us.
I've been dragging it down, I must say. I've been killing the consensus and killing in a bad way. I've been killing the consensus.
You are the mush. You are still the mush until you have a winning week, buddy. You're still the mush. And I've had 2.
I've had 2 winning weeks out of 6, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
it's not great. If you're a baseball player, that's good. But 2 for 6. If you're playing baseball, it's good. If you're picking games, it's not. So, on that note, let's get into it. Week 7 is upon us. Let's go. What do you got? Oh, are you
gotta start.
The Degen Thursday
night
night game? Right.
Thursday night game. Lucky will never touch it because
I don't think I've ever touched it to this point.
No, you have never touched the Thursday night game. My Thursday night game record is getting much better. Started off at 1-2, and now I'm 1-2 in a row on Thursday night.
There you go.
3-2-1 on Thursday night, so that's not bad. And last week, Thursday night, I took Philly, which I hated. Didn't want to pick the game at all, but Philly laid it to the Giants.
Smackdown on the Giants.
Smackdown, just a beating. So that was a good pick. And if you took that Thursday night and a degenerate gambler bet, which I like to call Thursday night, you were a winner. So tonight, again,
you got to be a degenerate, or degenerate, one of the other, one of the two. You got to be a degenerate or degenerate to bet tonight's game.
Tonight's game is a degenerate special. If you are a fan, either you got to be from Arizona or Denver, or you got to put some money on this one to make it interesting. So, and that's what I like to do. So, it's a terrible game, and I have again no idea. So I'm gonna take the favorite. I'm gonna take Denver -1.5. Arizona has a pretty good defense, but
Yep,
Case
defensively
Keenum,
they're not bad.
Case Keenum's shown a little bit lately. Denver.
He can beat us. He's shown that.
Yeah, and Arizona. I hate this game. I really do. I have no confidence in this game. So if you are wagering, I'm going to put a very small wager on this game just to make it interesting for me. But I will not be unloading the boat. I will not be betting the house. And I will put my very small wager on Denver to cover 1.5 in Arizona. And also, this game is going to be the 8-4 game special of the week.
Oh, okay. 8-4,
which
too.
is going to be the under of the week, which the under of the week came in again last week, I must say. That was Baltimore and Tennessee.
Wow.
Your terrible game.
And my terrible pick and your under of the
That
week.
was the under of the week. So the
21.
under of the week, the Franco under of the week has gone to 5-1 on the year. And I'll get to the over of the week later. But the under of the week will be tonight. The over-under for that Denver-Arizona game is 42. So bet under. And if you have to, bet Denver. But if you're going to bet that game, I'm going to bet under before I bet
Take
Denver.
the under.
Yes, but I will take Denver.
I'm with you on that. I'd want to get this game. If I were watching this game, I'd want to get it over with as quickly as possible. So I'd sit there and I'd root for the clock to move as fast as possible.
Right.
And
so I'll take Denver and bet the under. But if you're betting that game, bet the under.
All right.
What are you doing?
So my first pick of the week, this is one of the teams I picked last week. I'm going against them this week, and that is the Carolina Panthers going into Philly. I'm going to take Philly. I'm going to lay the 4.5. I was impressed with the way the Eagles went into Giants Stadium, took care of business, and beat down Eli Manning and the Giants. I think they're a tough team. I think they'll do the same against Carolina. The Giants being one of the common opponents for these two teams. Carolina, as you remember, needed a 63-yard field goal to beat the Giants at home.
Right.
And Philadelphia went into New York and just crushed the Giants. I think Philly covers this 4.5 comfortably. I don't have a lot of confidence. I was trying to get a backdoor cover last week. I don't have a lot of confidence in Cam Newton. If there's one quarterback that you need to go down the field and score a touchdown for a cover, it's not Cam Newton. If you need a touchdown, forget about it. He's not the guy. You might as well just turn the TV off. Don't have to throw it out the window, but just turn it off and just go out and do something else because he's not going to get you a touchdown to cover. Take Philly minus 4.5. I feel pretty good about that.
I like the pick. Philly, I had that circled. I did not take it, but Philly is a team that needs a win now. They lost, I believe, last week to – did they lose? No.
Philly beat the Giants, right?
Beat the Giants on Thursday night.
They've had 10 weeks to prepare for Carolina. 10 weeks, 10 days. I think 10 weeks they get the job done, but I think they can get this done in 10 days. They'll be ready to go. I think they're ready to kick it in and start their move to try to take over the NFC East. It's pretty mediocre out there, so they're right in the mix, 3-3 with the Cowboys, and actually the Redskins are still leading the division by the fact they've played fewer games, so they're 3-2. So, yeah, I like it.
There. I like Philly. Also, all right. Well, let's get to my second pick of the week, which is the same every week, and I will take the Patriots.
All right.
The Patriots will be giving 3 in Chicago. I told you last week that the Patriots would cover, which they didn't. And that was an upsetting beat against the Chiefs, even though that was a fantastic game. For all of those listeners out there, all 4 of you, please call in to no number that we have, but have something to say to Lucky, who gets these backdoor covers on the Patriots and feels good about it.
That was one of my 2 wins. I did go against the Patriots, and I pulled it out.
That's what I'm talking about, those bullshit covers.
Right at the end of the game, I was like, tackle Gronk. Don't let him go into the end zone.
Yeah, he gets it both ways. He gets the Patriots win, happy, and he gets the cover on the other end. So fuck that, all right?
I I must say it was 24-9 at halftime, and I was pleasantly surprised. But I was still pretty confident that the Chiefs would get back into the game. It was just a matter of how long it was going to take, and it didn't take very long.
See, that's the problem, Lucky. That's the problem with your little. I'm going to bet on the Chiefs and hope the Patriots win, because you're sitting there and you're actually cheering a little bit for the Chiefs during the fucking game. Okay?
No, I wasn't cheering at all. I was at the time.
That's bullshit, man.
Nah, I was at the time. I was 1-3, and I'm like. And I even texted you this, and I'm like, okay, screw it. I don't care if I go 1-4. I just want a Patriots win.
See, that's that bullshit little mentality that you have that I don't buy into. That sometimes in the back of your brain somewhere you're saying, oh, I still want the Patriots to win.
I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. I can tell you that.
But I want KC to get 3 points, get that 3 points in, and I'll get that half-point cover, and then I'm happy. So
I was. Yeah. I can't say I wasn't ecstatic when the Patriots milked the clock down to kick the field goal. So I would still preserve my Chiefs cover. But if the game if the Chiefs hadn't scored another point and the game ended 43-9, I would have been just as happy. So.
Well, you're the guy who's cheering for Gronk to get tackled at the 9-yard line there.
Well,
you're
only because if Gronk scores there, then the Chiefs get the ball back, and they probably would have gone right down the field and scored a touchdown.
That's a total lie.
They probably would have scored a touchdown.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You are not thinking that. You're thinking, get down so I can cover. That is exactly what you're thinking. You're not thinking, oh, don't score too fast because the Chiefs are going to score back.
There's people
thinking, get down and kick the field goal so I can cover and win.
I was listening to Patriots radio this week, and there's people that are actually calling in and saying that because there was only 3 minutes left in the game. Do you think Belichick you think they just let the Chiefs score on that Tyreek Hill play so the Patriots could come down and milk the clock and kick the field goal? And yeah, Belichick is such a genius. He's a defensive genius, but I really don't think they're going to want to let the Chiefs score in one play. Come down the field and score in one play so you can get the ball back and milk the clock and kick a field goal. But,
well, you're changing the subject now because you don't want to face the fact that you're an asshole for cheering for the Chiefs, okay?
No, hey, guess what? I'm not an asshole because guess what? We got a consensus pick. I'm going with the Patriots too this week. I mean, I was having a hard time coming up with games to pick, and it was it wasn't an easy week. So I'm going to jump back on the bandwagon and take the Pats -3, despite the fact that they're 0-2 on the road this year, and didn't cover when we needed them to cover down in Jacksonville. But I think they got the offense figured out, and I used the school bell this time because. I think we're 0-5 using the Thunderbolt consensus. So the school bell is back. School's out for summer. Get out of school, bust the doors down, go bet this. I think the Patriots will cover -3 at Chicago. The defense has to show up, though. They got to show us a little bit more than what they showed us against the Chiefs. Although they did play the first half, they played pretty well. They got Mahomes to throw a pick. Hightower baited him with the fake rush and back up into cover. He also chased Mahomes down late to force a bad throw. To get the second pick, which kept the score 24-9. So they showed some signs of promise in the first half. The offense now, they like I said, going into last week, Brady kind of has all his tools now. He's got one big dynamic receiver in Josh Gordon, and they definitely showed that they wanted to get Gordon the ball more last week. I thought early in the game, especially, they were kind of forcing the ball to him a lot. And maybe he wasn't quite ready. I think it was a 4th and 3. They threw this pass to Gordon. It looked like he wasn't even ready for it. And I'm like, what the heck was that? That's your 4th and 3 pass. Throw it to James White. Throw it to Julian Edelman. But doesn't matter. It worked out. Bears have pretty good defense, but guess what? when you allow 380 yards of passing to Brock Osweiler, how good can you be, right? So
I was just about to say that. The Dolphins rolled 28 on that overrated defense.
Yes. And I almost took that game last week. That was my 6th game on the block, and I'm glad I didn't. Bears, to shut down the Dolphins, and not only did they not shut them down, Brock Osweiler came in and lit them up
Lights them up
for 380 yards.